Did you guys hear the story of a man who was beaten and stripped naked by his two sons after they caught him cheating on their mother? This story is wild and is making a lot of people talk. In fact, it's a lot worse than it already sounds, because the man in question eventually was said to have fallen ill and died from the sickness. The man, who was known as Emekeme Joseph, also called Semikolo, was said to be a notable hotelier in Delta State, which means he had a hotel business and he was a socialite because he was well known by his peers. Clearly, he's a wealthy man, a well-to-do man who was flourishing in his businesses. He was also said to be a deacon in a Pentecostal church. Mr. Semikolo was said to have been married and may have had near up to 3 children, including 2 boys and a girl. His daughter, they said, was married and had her own family, while his 2 sons were said to have been living with him in his house and said to be both aspiring music artists. His wife, however, at the time of this incident was said to have been abroad. But for what it's worth, there's a chance that she may have facilitated everything that went on while she was still outside of the country. So this is what happened. Somewhere around the middle of May 2023, Mr. Semikolo's 2 sons approached him in his hotel while he was with another woman. Pretty much, they caught him cheating on their mother with his side chick. And while they were there, they attempted to blackmail him, threatening to tell their mother that he was cheating, but made him an offer that if he would give them 1 million naira each, they would keep their mouth shut and not spill his secrets. But Semikolo did not take them seriously. He refused to give them the money, and they eventually went ahead and told their mother that their father is cheating on her with another woman. So it's not clear how Victoria, the wife, took it, but somewhere in the conversation, she ordered her 2 sons to not let the man go near her business. She had a business that she was running in Olympia, Saple. It's not clear why, but the instruction she gave to the sons was to prevent the man from coming there. Maybe he used to go there to supervise and she just wanted to cut him out of it. However, Semikolo did not pay attention to this. Maybe he wasn't instructed not to go, but when he eventually showed up at his wife's business place, his sons stopped him and told him to go back. They walked him away and prevented him from entering into the business vicinity. Semikolo was offended by this. He went back to the house and then seized the car keys of his sons. Apparently, maybe they both have their own vehicles or maybe they shared one. But like I said, this man is wealthy. He had money. And so the best way he thought of getting back at them for kicking him out of his wife's business was to seize their car keys. Pretty much maybe the cars that he bought for them, most possibly. Now, when the boys went back home, they discovered that their father had seized and hidden the car keys and probably other properties or things that he had bought for them. And that was when the big fight happened. It was said these 2 boys pounced on their father, beat him up and dragged him outside the gates, stripped him naked. They even filmed him, but there is no video of it because the police may have confiscated it. Thank God for that. But neighbors who said they saw the sons doing this to their father were sort of shocked and bewildered that these 2 young boys could do this to their own father. Semikolo eventually called the police, and when the police came, pretty much as it should be, the 2 boys were arrested. It was also said one of them fought the police and injured the police in the process. Clearly, these 2 boys are said to have been rascals. There are sources claiming that they may have also been cultists. Another source did also assume or allege that it was their mother who gave them the orders to beat up their father. The 2 boys were arrested, and it's not clear, but Semikolo started falling ill. He started feeling sick. Although the sources are making it seem as though he had been sick before the incident, but there's a chance and a high possibility that he may have fallen sick after the physical altercation with his sons. He quickly checked himself into a hospital where he was receiving treatment. And while he was still at the hospital, he secured the release of his sons because, of course, in the end, those were his sons. He paid for their bail and asked probably the police to drop all charges. I doubt he pressed charges. He just locked them up and brought them out when it was time, or maybe he felt he would need them around to look after him now that he's sick, probably due to their own cause. His wife Victoria eventually returned from where she was outside of the country and started catering for her husband. Although sources claim that she threatened to divorce him because of the cheating and because he had a mind to lock up their sons and made their sons sleep in prison. So that was why Victoria was threatening this man that she would divorce him while the man was actually sick in the hospital. But she continued taking care of him. When his sickness got worse while in Delta State, they transferred him to a hospital in Benin, the University Teaching Hospital. Although known by his friends that he was sick and that incident had happened, when the wife returned and started taking care of him, his friends stopped hearing from him. Semikolo's friends and colleagues were no longer hearing from him. They were now wondering what's up with him, why they had stopped hearing from him. Victoria kept his location in the hospital a secret and kept the status of his health a secret also. Eventually, his colleagues and associates, figured out where he was, and they came to the teaching hospital in Benin to see him. And he promised them that he was going to get better and that his health was improving. And that was it. So when they all returned back, they kept hoping that maybe they can keep being in contact with him. However, they were unable to reach him. They could only get information through his wife, and his wife started telling them that he was in a hospital in Lagos. Meanwhile, she had returned him from Benin back to a hospital in Delta State. And somewhere around the 25th of May 2023, Mr. Semikolo passed. He died. When people tried to reach out to Victoria, to ask if this is true, she declined commenting. She didn't even pick their calls. Their sources claim that she may have told people that he died in Lagos. The death of this businessman started sparking outrage, as people are connecting his sickness to the beating he suffered in the hands of his sons under the orders of their mother. The internet is somewhat divided because people are claiming that it was the beating the sons gave him that caused his sickness that killed him, whereas there are claims that he was already sick and had an underlying condition that may have also played a role in his death. However, there's a flip side claim that his death may have also been traditionally fetish in a way, more like after the incident of his sons beating him up and stripping him naked in front of the public, it was required by tradition that the sons kill a goat and appease the gods so that everything can be forgiven and things can return back to normal. Now, a goat was killed, but what the native doctor is claiming, or what the spiritual traditional people are saying, is that the reason why Semikolo died was because the goat that was killed to appease the gods of the disgrace his son may have imputed on him was bought with his own money by him. He literally just paid it off to the traditional people, just to protect his sons. Even while this man was in his ill health, he was releasing his sons from the jail. He was bailing them out so that, people in the culture would not gather them up and beat them. And so the native doctor or the seer who made these claims believes that the goat that was killed to make things right was actually bought and paid for by Semikolo himself. By rights, it was the two boys who were supposed to buy it out of their own will and kill it for a sign of forgiveness and a sign of, fixing the abomination that they had brought upon their family and upon themselves. Because one thing I know about the Delta culture is that once you do something or you cause a fall for your father or an older person, by right, even before the person stands up from that particular spot they had fallen, you're supposed to kill a goat. So apparently in this case, Semikolo was the one who bought the goat himself so that he would protect his sons. And that was why they believe he died, because the goat for cleansing was not properly done right. Now, after this man passed, it was said his wife Victoria removed his name from her name, removed his surname from her names, and returned back to using her own father's name for her surname. She removed her husband's name from her social media handle and pretty much returned to being single immediately. An older brother to the late Semikolo was not taking this lightly, because he claimed that his brother's death was kept in the dark. Even when his body was taken to the mortuary, he was not informed. It's almost as if his wife and the children were trying on burying this man secretly. So currently, the status of this story is claiming that Semikolo's brother is fighting to keep the properties of his late brother away from the children and the wife, because he believed that they killed him so they can take everything to themselves. It's such an unfortunate story, and it's a pathetic one for this man, because I feel that his children did cross a line. What is there? And we have heard many stories of women who were being chastised by their in-laws after the passing of their husbands, how they are being cut out of the wealth, how they are being kicked out of ownership of properties. And half the time we want to side with these women because many of them are victims of horrible brother-in-laws and horrible in-laws in general. But for this story, I'm very sorry. I might want to take sides with Semikolo's older brother for the first time. because the way in which this story unfolded seems very fishy to me. Because I know for this man having a side chick, it would not be something all of a sudden. I don't think it's something his sons would want to go and threaten to tell their mother for. It's like, so what? No offense to Urobo men, but they are very polygamous in nature. So it's not an uncommon thing for a man from that part of the world to have side chicks, to even have a second, third, and fourth wife. So why was it a big deal for this man who has a side chick that he's even taking to a hotel? He's not even bringing a woman to his house. And yet the sons felt the need to catch him in the act and threaten him, to blackmail him, collect millions of naira from him to keep their mouth shut. These children seem very entitled and spoiled, in my opinion. They seem to have been played, or somehow somebody above them is giving them these orders. This to me seems like a setup. I'm not going to lie, and I might be wrong, and I know I may get backlash from this, but this to me feels like somebody told these boys, go to the hotel, catch your father in the act. I feel like this woman, his wife, Victoria, clearly wanted this marriage to end and wanted to go. She lives abroad, according to what we're hearing. She has been living abroad. So clearly she has seen the life there. She has seen how life is for a woman, and now she probably wants to part ways, and clearly she has her own business, she has her own money. And obviously, even seeing after her husband died, she removed his name quickly, shows that she was waiting to be single and she needed to catch this man in the act so that she can divorce him properly. Even they claim that when she found out that the husband locked the children up and made them stay in prison overnight, she assumed that that was why she wanted to divorce him. Obviously, she has just been looking for a way to divorce this man. It's clear to me that this woman really wanted to get out of this marriage, but she wanted to do it in a way where it would be the husband's fault and not hers. That is what it looks like to me, because I don't understand why the kids need to report to you that your husband is cheating. I'm sure she knows. I'm sure she's aware. I'm sure it's a normal thing. I don't know why that is a problem. I'm sure that is something. But I guess she needed to know so she can use it as a ground to leave the marriage. But things probably just went left because her sons wanted to be greedy too. They wanted money. And when the man did not fall for that, they took side with their mother and started taking orders from her, because the mother too seems to be just as capable financially. But what I may not agree with is that she killed the man. I don't think she meant to. I don't think she wanted this man to die. I just think she wanted to leave the marriage and go with half the property and half her own wealth and probably continue living her life abroad. Now, do I believe the sickness that Semikolo suffered was as a result of the beating he got from the sons? Very possible. These are two grown men. These are not two teenagers. These are grown men beating up an elderly man and stripping him naked. That is too much. And this is a man that is in his probably 60s or late 50s. Who knows what other underlying condition he may have had, and these boys physically attacking him may have contributed to making his condition worse. Who knows? The kids made a very horrible, poor choice that I hope they regret for the rest of their life, because this is shameful on their part. And if indeed there is a curse that has been placed on them for doing that to their own father, I wouldn't mind it, because this is horrible and unheard of. For them to even demand that money in order to blackmail their father, it shows how spoiled they are. Could this be a result of how this man and his wife trained them? Clearly, this could also be poor home training or poor upbringing, because the audacity, the mind that these boys had to do what they did to their father, only God knows where it came from. And people are only suspecting that it may have come from their mother. And seeing who Victoria is and seeing what she may have done and seeing how she handled the situation, I don't doubt that. This woman appears to be somebody who really wanted to get away from this, and she probably used her sons, who are known to be cultists, to facilitate her dissolution of the marriage. It's just that it had to come at the cost of her husband's life, which I don't think any of them intended for. But it happened. It's not clear what's going to happen now or how this is going to play out in court. If this would go to court, it's not clear who will take responsibility for the death of this man. But if indeed it turns out that it is the beating that caused this man's death, the sons may be held responsible or not. But I believe it may have been some kind of underlying health issue. At the same time, what they did to this man is horrible, pathetic, and in my opinion, diabolic. It feels like a planned job. And this is when such accusation that, oh, man, you killed your husband, comes into play. That is very believable. We see it in movies and we feel bad for the wives. We feel bad, oh my God, stop, this is so backward. This culture, this tradition is backward. Stop accusing the woman of killing her husband. That is so olden days. But given the details of the story, it's hard not to believe so. Not to add to the fact that when he was in the hospital, this woman kept taking it from one place to another. Even at the hospital while he was feeling better in Benin, she removed him and brought him back to Delta State. It feels fishy. It feels like something is there. And after he dies, she rushes to remove his surname from her name on Facebook. Really? It just feels very unusual to me. It feels like there could be more to this man's death than it meets the eye. But regardless of whether or not there is more, it's obvious that this man was done wrong by his own family. And it's tragic and unfair. But you guys let me know what you think about the story. Do you think this man may have died as a result of his children's beating? Do you think that they killed him? Do you believe the wife had a hand in this? Or do you think it was just the son and the children acting all by themselves? Let me know what you think in the comment below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. You could also turn on notification button should there be any future updates. You'd be the first to get notified. Thank you guys for watching.